Hello, everybody, and welcome to my studio. I'm Pam Coxwell, and I'm excited to have you here. So, this tutorial is how to paint one of our very special ornaments as part of the Nativity Love Story. So, today I want to show you how to paint this donkey ornament. So, he's part of the series that I've created. It's been a lot of fun. It's Mary and Joseph, and they're based off of the book, A Nativity Love Story. No, that's my collection. Two from Galilee is the book, A Love Story of Mary and Joseph, or Mary and Joseph Love Story, something like that. I've already got it. I've said it so many times. You would think I would have it down pat by now. But anyway, you get the gist of it all. So from that, I was inspired to do a Mary ornament. This is Mary, and her partner ornament, part of her set, is the star. Do not see the star, so I can't show you the star. Here it is. Here it is. Here's the star. There's the star. So with each one of these, there's a front and the back. So that was the first in the set. And originally, my plan was to release one set from this big collection each month to give you plenty of time to create it. And it did not go as planned, but that's okay because it did not go as I planned, but I think it went according to the plan, his plan. So the second in the series is Joseph and the donkey. So here's Joseph, and there's the back. And I think I was reading I think it was a verse in Matthew. I forgot to put the reference on here, but it's where the angel was talking to Joseph and told Joseph what to name that baby. So, and he called his name Jesus. And then his partner in that set is the donkey. The donkey is really special to me for two reasons. So his verse is Luke 2:7. She wrapped him in swaddling cloths and laid him in a manger because there was no room for him in the inn. But the donkey says, there's a place for you here. He shared his space with him. So throughout in birthing this series, I really saw it as really the nativity scene that we typically see every year that so many of us create. Thought about that and thought really all of Christmas is a true love story of God's love for us. And how could I illustrate that using ornaments? And so this is what I came up with. I just wanted to illustrate each of the typical characters that we commonly use to decorate with at Christmas with Jesus, and maybe how they were impacted by that baby that day in the manger. So I wanted to even include the animals. So if you notice, the donkey is there with him, sharing his space. So the other reason that this donkey is special to me is I think it's probably been 10 years ago. It's been quite a few years ago. Some friends and I wanted to find some sheep, wanted to take pictures of sheep. We wanted to find some sheep. So we were out looking for sheep farms, and I think the Lord placed us where he did, and we met a sheep farm owners. We met the owners of a sheep farm, and lovely couple, and she just is such a exquisite storyteller and told us all about the sheep, but also told us about Poncho the donkey. So Vivian, if you're watching, this is for you. It just gave me chills when she talked about Poncho the donkey and how they are just wired to know and protect the sheep. They protect them against enemies, but they also have an instinct for when the mom is going into labor, and they will herd her into the barn, the barn that they had for their sheep. And not only does he herd her in there, he stays there with her. and keeps the other sheep, who might be a little bit nosy on what's going on, keeps them back. He protects her. And it just made me want to cry to think about Mary riding on a donkey and thinking, I bet that donkey knew. He knew. He had an instinct of what was about to happen. So he's a special part of this ornament collection, and I'm excited to give this tutorial to help you know how to paint him. The other two in the story have just been released, and I'll have them available for watching live on Ornament Week, which is Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, August 19th, 20th, and 21st. So if you're watching the replay and it's after that time period, just contact us if you want access to the kits so that you could get the replays of those lessons. So the next two in the story would be the shepherd and the sheep. And of course, we had to have the sheep in there because I love sheep. So here's the shepherd, and there's the back. We're using old book pages. In addition to the Two from Galilee book, our kits all include a page from that book. We've also got a really old dictionary. So everyone gets a page from that really old dictionary. Then we also have the wise men. And if you notice, the colors are richer, the purples and the reds and the teal, and then the camels. Of course, we had to have camels in there. They were part. And so theirs says, the King of Kings is here. And the little expression on this one's face, I wanted it to be like, hey, he's here. He's here. So I'm tickled about these, and I'm excited to paint these with you. So let's get to the story, to the painting for this part of our story. So I am using parts from our kit for the Joseph and Donkey set. So if you are interested in getting a kit, I will have a link in there. Many of you already have the kit, and so you have most of the things. You should have all these things, basically. About the only thing you're going to need is some adhesive. So I'm going to be using this Pritt Glue Stick to put my paper down. You could use matte medium. You could use Mod Podge. The biggest thing that I want you to know is when you place your papers on here, don't get any adhesive on the top, because we're going to be watercolor. We're going to put watercolor. We're going to paint right on top of these pages. And the watercolor will absorb better if there's no glue or adhesive on top. So I like using the glue stick, and it has worked well for all of mine. And that's how I've done those. So to save time, I went ahead and applied the paper to my wooden tags. So this is, thought I might have a blank one. These are 3 inches by 5 inches wooden tags. They have a hole in them, and we've included those in the kit. Then for the back side, I just did like a collage of papers. This is some of the napkin that was in the kit. I just tore off pieces of it and put that down. There's some scrapbook paper. All of this on the back is scrapbook paper, except for that little piece there that is part of a book page. So another thing that I've been enjoying with this is I love to underline when I'm reading something. I think it helps me to remember it better. And so I've been reading through these book pages and underlining words that I read that really stand out to me. So I also teach lettering, and that's one of the things that I teach is keywords. And how can we use our creativity to accent or bring attention to those keywords? So for the artwork, I just used underlining. So the thing that really stood out to me whenever I was reading this, it says, would the star follow them? He wondered. Would it continue to blaze above their heads like a torch to light the way. Where now, star, he thought, guide me and lead me. I loved that. That was, this is a fictional book based off of the nativity story from the Bible, but I did want to point out it's a fictional book. All right, so let me change camera views so that you can see what I'm working on, okay? Let's see. All righty, let's get some light on. And that light's a little bit bright. So inside the kit, everyone receives these paint dots. So these are special because it's artist grade paint, watercolor paint. And when you receive it, it's dry. It just looks like, I thought I might have one up here, but I don't. So, well, yeah, I don't have one to show you. But the fun thing about using these paint dots is when you add a little bit of water to it, it activates this pigment and we paint with it. So what I've done, because a lot of people like this, I go ahead and I curate the colors for you. So you don't have to figure it out. And this is like a sampler. It's enough for you to do your ornaments. You could even get 2 sets of ornaments out of this paint because it does not take much. You don't have to use a lot of paint. So I've curated this whole kit so that these paints coordinate with the napkins we put in there. It coordinates with the paper that we put in there. It coordinates with the beads and the buttons we put in there. So you don't have to worry about anything like that. We also include tools to try. So this kit includes 2 of these are water-soluble pencils. It's like a watercolor pencil. The pigment's a little bit more intense. These are Supra color pencils, but we'll use these also. So I'll be using the paint dots, the pencils, and we've got some ribbon that we'll finish it off with. And inside, we've already printed out these for you. These are the traceables. I call these art traceables. So I draw the artwork and then we make this into a PDF so that you can print it out. But if you order the kit, we've already got it printed for you. So all you have to do is get some transfer paper, which is not included. That's the other thing you'll need in the kit. You'll need a little bit of transfer paper, or you don't have to have transfer paper. You could even use pastel. You can scribble on the back with a pastel or chalk, and then you probably did that in school. I remember doing that in school, cutting that down to make it easier to deal with. You could also paint right on top of this. So this is copy paper. So you'll have to keep in mind that it's not designed to absorb a lot of water. Watercolor paper is designed to absorb water. So depending on what type of printer you have, you could even lay this on your copier and feed some watercolor paper through. You could feed some mixed media paper. Illustration paper works really well. It's nice and smooth. You can even print this on vellum. And I'm going to show you that because in the kit, we've included a half sheet of vellum with the designs already on there. So for these, for the designs that are more intricate, I have found that this works out easier for everybody, because we could actually use color pencil and crayon, or a little bit of watercolor paper, or even markers to color this and add it to the ornament. So, and then I also did the lettering for you. You can trace that lettering on there if you want to use it, but you can also cut this out and just apply it to the ornament, however you want to do that. The other thing you can do, and I wanted to show you this, you can get some off-white paper and then just lay this on the copier and print it out on some off-white paper. it works out really well with these old book pages. Like that's an example. That's off-white paper, and it just looks good with the old book paper. Okay, so I think I've told you everything. I've got a hot glue gun because for the beads, we're going to need something to hold the beads and the buttons down. So you could use hot glue for that. You can also use my favorite thing is this is called it's gel gloss. And I know it looks like there's not much in there. It kind of looks like cold cream, but this goes a long way, and you just get a little glob of that. Kind of looks like this paste that we used to use in school, and I'll show you how that works. Another thing that will work is Mod Podge. You could put a little bit of Mod Podge down and sprinkle those beads on. I've also played around with the triple thick, and once the beads dried, I was trying to find the one, this is one that I did. Once the glue dried, then I drizzled a little bit of that triple thick on top of those beads, and they're not going anywhere. They are on there securely now. Then some people will ask, well, how do you seal this, or how do you finish it off? And what I like to use is Krylon's matte finish spray. You could use any kind of finishing spray or sealer. I like the matte. The other thing that you want to look for is to make sure it's non-yellowing. That's going to help it last longer. This says that it's a moisture resistant coating. I don't think that means get it wet. I think that means like dampness around. I treat these ornaments as precious. I mean, they're handmade, and I'm going to be careful where I put them so that, you know, I can take care of them. Okay, so one other thing that I want to show you that I discovered in doing the camel is, because the camel is very intricate, but this will work also for the donkey. So I used my pencils, and I used some Neo colors. And if you got any of the other kits by this point, so if you got the Mary and any of the other kits, I coordinated them all to work together. So you can use the tools from any of those other kits in any of these designs, and they're going to work. I took a lot of time to try and make sure that all of this would work together. So just say that you've got a Neo color that's this golden ochre, and you want to use that in here, go ahead, because it's going to work well. I coordinated all of that. So what I discovered is I could actually do my artwork, my coloring, adding color directly onto the traceable, onto this part, and then apply it to the wood piece like that. So after I did that, I thought, I'm going to test this to see if I cut this down, glue it on, then paint on top of it, would that work? And it did. So if you don't want to fool with the tracing paper, it will work to do this. So you really need to be careful though, because when you apply it, keep the glue off the top. Keep the adhesive off the top. The drawback of doing it this way is that you cannot see the book paper underneath. So one of the things that I love about old book pages and painting on this paper is that you can see the words. Mary's is an example. So you can see those book pages under there. Joseph, I painted that directly onto the paper. You can see that. And I really do love that about it. But I decided to go ahead and show this in one of the tutorials for those who really don't want to have to deal with the transfer paper. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my smaller scissors, and I'm just going to cut really close to our donkey. Oops, I cut off the tip of his ear. And I'm going to use my Pritt Glue Stick, but you could use other things. Just try to keep it off the top. I'm going to come back and get that a little bit closer in just a second. And I'm just going to do the donkey for this. I'm going to trace the heart. I'm going to do the others right on the book page. But I wanted you to see this because if you're one of the many who don't like wrestling with transferring the design, this is one way you can do it. The other way, remember, is to print it directly onto whatever surface you want to use. So I'm going to keep this intact because that's going to help me with my placement, okay? So I'm not going to cut all that down. All right, so let me move some of my stuff. Let me move that little guy. Now, another thing that I like to do whenever I'm gluing is I'll take a piece of deli paper and I use that for gluing my surface, and it kind of helps me not be as messy. I have a tendency to be a little bit messy. And let's look at this with the placement. I'm using a camera that I'm not able to do my zoom in on the camera, so I'm sorry, y'all. Okay, so see, this is how I'm looking at it to find my placement. And I designed this so that the donkey would go right up to the edge, okay? So I'm just looking at it to see. I almost forgot to cut that off. You need some small scissors for this. I'm just going to tell you. Okay, so now I'm going to put him over here, and I'm just going to, I got this glue from Amazon. That's where I ordered it from. And I've been really pleased with it. It's worked really, really well. Okay, make sure you can see this. All right, little fella. I think that's about right. So I'm getting him flush with the edge. And then I'm going to take an old room key, and I'm just going to smooth that out. Okay, there you go. So there he is. He's down. All right, so then you have a choice. Do you want to trace the little manger? So I'm going to do that just so you can see for those who have not done that before. So here's what I'm doing. Always hold it really, really still, even if you need to tape it. And one thing I forgot to get was I have a really fine ballpoint pen. I'm going to use this one. This one's fine. And I'm just going to go over this, the outline, like that. And I'm trying really hard to not move this paper. And the other thing that I'm going to do is, with that in place, I'm going to hold my fingers right here, and I'm just going to peep up under there. Okay, and I got it on there. There's been times, though, that I've not gotten it all the way through, and I had moved my paper, and it's next to impossible to line it back up. Okay, so can you see it? I'm just going to take, this is what is this? This is the brown that's in the kit. And it's water soluble. So I'm just going to outline that so I can see where it goes. And water soluble means that whenever water or anything wet touches it, it is going to move. It's going to dissolve. It's soluble. Okay, so there I've got my outline so I can see it a little bit better. And I'm going to do this pink right here for the baby, just to keep his face as a placeholder. Brand new pink little baby. And then I'm going to add a little bit of brown on top of that pink, and I'm going to show you what happens. All right, so I've got a cup of clean water, and I've also got a water brush. You don't have to use this. You could use you just need a really small brush, a small tip. This is a liner brush, a 2.0 liner brush. This design is so small, you don't really need anything very big. So I dipped it in water and then I tapped it on this paper towel. So basically it's damp. It's really not even wet. And I like to keep a paper towel. I didn't have it in my hand. I like to keep a paper towel nearby so that I can blot it and I can tell that that one's got a little bit too much water. So I'm going to blot that so I don't have a mess. Now I'm going to look at my paints on here. And I've been using this color right here. This, I think it's pronounced Wan Brilliant. It's kind of a peachy, fleshy tone. And I'm just barely touching that. Just barely. Then I'm going to go over here and I rinsed out my brush, blotted it off. I'm going to pick up a little bit of this one. I think it's pronounced Gothite. And I'm just going to touch that down there because he was a dark skin baby. And I'm just trying to get a little bit of color on him, on his face. And I'm going to come back with my pencil. Oops, did a little bit too much. And then I'm going to come back with so I'm just kind of layering some color on there. Now you can see his face. And I added a little bit too much brown, but I'm not going to worry about that. We can fix it, okay? So now let's go ahead and use, I already put the brown lines on here and the outlines. So I'm going to use this. It's called German greenish raw umber. I like this color. So I'm going to get some water on my brush. I'm blotting it off so the brush tip is basically just damp. That's all it is. And I'm just wetting it over that paint to activate it. Can you see that? Just activating that pigment. And so now I'm just going to come right here and I'm just going to draw across it. That's all I'm doing. This is like coloring. And I'm intentionally leaving some white space or space that's not painted. I'm going to leave that because I really like the way the book paper looks on there. And I kind of want to protect that. And I'm going to wet my brush. I'm going to get a little bit more of that wand now that this is dried, and I'm going to lighten up his face. I got it a little bit darker than I wanted. Just a little bit. Okay, now I'm going to take, let me see where it's at. I don't think I do. Hold on, let me see if I do. Yeah, I don't have my color pencil from Mary. Where did it go? I'm always losing my stuff. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use this crayon, this Neo color. The Mary kit has this same color in pencil form. And I don't know where mine went. So I'm just going to use this because this is what I can find. All right, so same process. This is water soluble. So I wet my brush, I blotted it off so the tip of my brush is just moist. And look what happens. When I touch it, it activates that pigment, and now we have straw. See that? I love these things. Then I still have that pigment on my brush, so I'm going to put a little bit on the ground because we can pretend like that straw just kind of spilled out onto the dirt floor like that. And so what happened is this picked up some of that brown and it mixed it together, and I really like that look. You see that? Okay, so now let's paint this background on our donkey. So we're going to do the gray Titan, and we're going to do the same thing. I put water on my brush. I'm over here mixing it up like that. Okay, so I'm going to come right here and I'm just going to add some color. Now remember, this piece is copy paper, so I have to work in layers with this because copy paper is not really designed to absorb water. It will, but it's not really designed for that. So I have to really use light layers, but this is definitely a technique that will work if you just want to use the the traceable, and you don't want to deal with the transfer paper. Okay, so we're just going to get a light coat on there of this gray Titan. With watercolor, I like to work light up. So what that means is any place that I want it to be light or white, I have to preserve that space because you can't go backwards. You have to go, there's not a, like with acrylics, if you're used to painting with acrylics, don't be afraid to move your thing around. If you're used to painting with acrylics, you know that you can just add all kinds of layers of white to lighten something up. But you saw how difficult that was for me to get the baby's face. I'm just having to put light layers back on there, trying to get it to lighten up. But it's better to do the lightest layer first and then add your shadows like I did right there. Okay, so all of that was done with that gray Titan. Now what you can do is allow that to dry completely and then come back with another layer of that in those places that you want shadow. If you do it all over the donkey, then that's fine too. It's going to make all of his fur, the next layer, darker. Okay, so then I'm going to take some of this, it's called Joseph Z's Neutral Gray. What a name. Kind of sounds like John Jingleheimer Smith, whatever that guy's name is. Okay, so because this is a dark color, I'm just kind of blotting some of it off over here on the side. And now I blotted all of it off, okay? So now I'm going to come into those areas that I want to be a lot darker. And like behind his ear, up under the little harness, up over here would probably be darker. Right next to his blanket would probably be darker. Maybe even this leg right here would be darker. Just anywhere you think some shading needs to be. But isn't that fun how it works? Okay, so while that layer is drying, I want to go ahead and do his harness. And I'm going to do the green. It's called Rare Green Earth. And this is the same green that we used in Joseph. So if you, have already painted your Joseph, this is the same green. And this way, both our guys match. Joseph, I've been calling him Joe. I had the hardest time I keep misspelling the name Joseph. I know how to spell it, but I keep misspelling it. So I've started abbreviating it, and I'm calling him Joe and the Donkey. Joe and the Donkey. All right, so I'm going to make his blanket this green also. Okay, so now his blanket and his harness are that Christmassy green. Then I'm going to take, I'm rinsing out my brush. I'm going to get some of that crimson. It's called Pyrrole Crimson. And I'm going to do a little bit right here. A bit there. And a little bit right there. You see that? Now we got it looking Christmassy. Okay, so let's add a little bit more of that goethite. I'm not sure if that's the correct pronunciation. I'm just going to add a little bit on a couple of spots right there on the little manger thing, the feeding trough, just to add some variation in that color. And I'm going to come over here and add it in just a few spots. We want to add a little bit on there, not a lot, just a little. Oh, and I see I missed a spot on that green. So you could actually do this entire piece with the color pencils or the Neo colors. All right, so there we have that, and you can see that a lot of that is still wet. I think you can you see how shiny it is in certain spots right in there? That tells me that the paper is still wet. So now what I want to do is I want to get my donkey. This is the vellum, okay? So this is just gonna, this is just an extra touch if you want to do it. Looking for my scissors. Now I'm gonna cut him out again. See how we're doing on time. And if you have some of those little foam adhesive things, they work out really good for this. I keep picking up the bad scissors, or maybe it's that all my scissors are bad. That's probably more like it, because I have the bad habit of not taking care of them. I cut wire, cut cardboard. If it's not moving, I cut it. I do have some that are marked fabric only, and I do try and observe that. Okay, now you can make more of these. This would be a good gift, I think. And if you start now, you should have time to get them done. Okay, so there's our vellum piece. I kind of like it just right, that he's really soft. But let's see what happens if we wanted to add dimension to it like this. So what we're going to need to do is put a little bit of paint on this. Or like I've got this pink. I'm going to add the pink right there to his cheeks. I'm going to look at my colors. I've got a gray pencil. I'm going to show you the difference in doing the pencil opposed to the paint, okay? So just bear with me just a second. This is the gray. Grayish, oh, it's grayish black is what it's called. This is also that Supra color pencil. So it's water soluble. Let me cut that. Okay, so see, I just did a few little scribbles on there. And let me rinse my brush. I'm going to blot it because this, we don't want a lot of water on it. This will curl a little bit when it gets wet. But I also found a trick for that. And I'll show y'all how to do that with the, I think it's the camel. Okay, so look at that. See? All right, so now it's pretty cool looking, isn't it? All right, so let me get my, where did I put them? I'm looking at my sample to see where did I put them. Okay, I just put them there and there and over there. And I cut mine in half because you could use a hot glue gun. I didn't because I wanted it to I wanted it to have dimension. So I'm just taking and cutting it in half. Okay, and I'm just going to place it on here like that. Pinch it on there. I really like using glue dots with these. Have you ever used those? They're called Zots. It comes in a box. I really like using those because they're clear. But I just wanted him to have dimension. I wanted y'all to see this, this option of how it could be done. There's so many different ways you can do it. Okay. And you may not want to do this at all. You may like it fine with it just being, you know, painted directly on that paper. All right, I've got the adhesives off of all of them. So now what I want to do is I want to try and line this up with the ears. And okay, so I really need one up under there too. Yep, I do. I forgot. And I really could have cut that even smaller because you do kind of see that. You do see the white just a little. All right, see that? And then I think that's good. Okay, so now let's add just a little bit more color to this to build up our layers just a little bitty bit more. So what I'm going to do, I showed you how it looks with the pencil. Now let's go back to our other colors, and I'm going to get a little bit of that gray Titan, and I'm just painting it right on top of there. So you may be wondering, well, did I even need to paint that one underneath there? I did because I like the look. I really like this look. It's not necessary, you know, but I like being able to see a little bit of color under there. So it's really just personal preference, but it's really light and soft. And if you've ever been around donkeys, they just have such a humbleness about them. So I think that it's very fitting. Okay. I want to show you something though that you can use if you're a little bit nervous about this. If you have brush markers, I know a lot of y'all do. These are the Faber-Castell. I love that company. You can use those, and you might feel like you can control it a little bit better using those. So feel free to do that. All right, get that on there. And let me get a little bit of, I don't have a red out, so I'm just going to use this pink in place of that red. Okay. Then I want to get this pink, and I'm going to put a little bit more on his cheeks and a little bit more in this area. It's really light, but there we have that. Okay, so that wasn't too hard, wasn't it? So you could come back with even more if you wanted more. The other thing that we can do now that this is dry, I can tell it's dry, I can now come back with the pencil and I can sharpen up my lines for the manger. And that adds a little bit more depth on there also, doesn't it? All right, so part of this went past the, so let me get taken care of here now. All right, let me see if, here's a red. I really wanted that to be red because this is red. I wanted it to match. All right. I could have used the red paint. I don't know what I was thinking. I think I was wanting to show you how you could use this, I guess. I don't know what I was thinking. Oh my goodness. All right, so now what are we going to do about that heart? So this heart here, it's up to you. You could take your transfer paper and trace that out, or you could just paint it on there. I'm just going to paint it on there. I do need to remember, though, where it starts at. Right there. Okay. Let's see if I can do this. I I drew it once, so maybe I can do it again. You never know with me. Okay. That's good. I didn't want to lose those words about guide me, lead me. I love that. Look at there. Okay, so then it's up to you if you want to pull some of this down, you know, like this. You can do that. I did that on my other one, but I really want to preserve those words. So I don't know that I'm going to do it on this one. I have noticed that because I've painted quite a few of these now for displays and tutorials and stuff like that. I have noticed that every time I do it, it changes a little bit. I can never do two exactly the same. But there's the heart. Okay, so for the back side, I need to let this dry just a little bit. Look how it's curling. This is what I wanted you to see. So I can tell I probably need to go ahead and put something down there on his bottom, on the bottom of his feet. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut. Well, I had another piece. I'm going to cut another piece. I could even use the glue, but I just want to secure his feet because I noticed for myself, if you're moving it around a lot, you could, I don't know, I guess you could beat it up a little bit. Okay, so I like that. So let's talk about the back. So we've got buttons to put on the front, and then we're going to glue the verse down on the back. So let's go ahead and let me see about the string. Let's see what I've got left. I tried to take the different ornaments, and I've got a container for each ornament now to keep all the parts in because I had a hot mess in here. I had stuff everywhere. Okay, so I'm just going to thread that little buttonhole. Like that. Okay, see there? And I'm just going to cut this part off. And you could do this however you want to do it, with whatever you want to do it with. The buttons in the kit vary. Most of them, I still color coordinate them, but you might see, if you were to buy two kits, one kit might have a larger size of this or a smaller size. You know, it's hard to, can't really control that part, not from our end. I did want to tie this in a little bow because I did that on the other one and it looked really cute. This part is just your preference. These are just some ideas for you that you can use or not use, if I can hang on to it. Okay, so see that? So I can do it right there. Let me get my glue gun. You can decide, you know, how you want to do it. If you don't like the bow, then it's up to you. It's your piece of art. Look at there. I knew something was weird with that. I know what I'm going to do, y'all. Look at this. Look at this. Do you know Print Cut Craft, Tracy Gibson? She was showing this bow. I'm going to see if I can do it with something this small. Let's see if I can do it. And there is absolutely nothing wrong with not doing the bow. Okay, there we go. Now I've got two different colors on there. I like that. I love to layer colors, and I get excited about fall because I love to layer my clothing too. Do you like that? All right, y'all have to let me know whenever you get yours done, I want to see how you end up doing yours. All right, so there's that. And then we can also go ahead and put some of the little beads on there. And I think for now, I'm just going to use the hot glue. And then I'll come back probably with some of that triple thick over the top. I think that would be pretty. We put these little beads in the kit too, so everything color coordinates. I love color, and I love when it coordinates. There you go. You see that? You could add some little decoration to his blanket. There's so much you could do with this, so much. I really would like a little piece of red though, and I did have some red, but I think I used it on one of my other samples. So I'm going to see if I can put a little bit, because I want some more red on here. I've got it there. I've got it there. But I really would like to get a little bit more on here. I like to do things in threes. I think that's a good, well, when you're designing things, it looks visually appealing when it's in threes. So we've got red there, and red there. See? All right, and you can decide on your edges. I've done it lots of different ways. You could paint it. You could use a stamp pad to do the edges. You could use cording and cover it with cording. There's so many ways you can do this, really. I mean, the sky is the limit. Okay, so now here's my words. I knew I'd already gotten them out. Oh, I forgot something important. The words for there's a place for you here. Right here. They're on that. I really don't want to forget that. All right, so I'm going to do a heart shape. And where's my brush? I'm just going to paint that. I knew something looked a little bit off. Oh, goodness, I've got glue everywhere. Okay. There's something on the arm of it. There we go. All right. Now, I know this is probably too big. It is, so I need to cut it even closer. I would rather it be too big and me have to trim it down than to make it too small. I think it's starting to rain. We need some rain. Is it hot where you are? Oh my goodness, it's hot here. Okay, so, and I've been listening to Christmas music to help me do this because I have been painting Christmas stuff all of July and now into August, and it is hot, hot, hot outside. So I've been playing Christmas music. So you should do that. Turn the air conditioner down really low, get some hot chocolate, and listen to Christmas music, and paint your ornaments, and just enjoy it. And just, this can be such a good form of stress relief. It can be a good time spiritually, a good time for prayer. You can just use this in so many ways to help yourself. Because when you zone in on this and how do you want to create it and all that good stuff, you're not really thinking about all those things that are worrying you and bothering you. You can use it whenever they start popping up in your head. Just pray. Turn it over to the Lord. Okay, I feel better about that now. I've got some red down there. I've got those important words. But there's room for you, baby Jesus. There's room for you. I did a Bible study one time, and it was called There's No Room in the Inn, and it was doing a parallel with your heart spiritually. Is there room in your heart, in your life, for Jesus? Okay, so now I'm going to flip this over. We're getting close, guys. We're getting close. I had already used my marker and colored that in red. So now this is where you could take your stamp pad. Here it is. I was going to say, I don't know where my stamp pad is, but here it is. This is where you can take your stamp pad and do the edges. For those of you that have those little tools, I need to get one of those. My friend Denise uses that. Do y'all know her, the crafty DIYer? She has a cute little sponge thing that she uses. I see everybody with all the stuff is like, I want to get that. All right, so with this, I'm just going to glue this one down because I want to use some sprinkles and stuff over it. So remember, I've already done my collage on the back, and this one is really easy to do because it doesn't really matter. Let me see if I can say that better. It's not that it doesn't matter. So what I usually do with the book pages, oh, I wanted it on this side because I wanted that teal color to show. You know, I look to make sure there's not words that I want to underline or protect. So by underlining it, it helps protect them from getting covered up by me unknowingly. And I kind of would like something else right there. So I'm going to look at this napkin. This is a napkin that I found at an estate sale. Yeah, I want to add a little bit of something up here, and I'm just gonna put a glob of glue. Whoops, probably help if I push it down like that. Yeah, I like that. That just kind of borders it, and I just use my glue stick, and I will bring that over to here. I even glued some fabric with this stuff. It's I don't know what is in it, but it works. It works. Okay, there we go. So now I want to put some beads right in there, and I think we will have it. Okay, so I'm going to use, all right, first of all, let me do the ribbon because I'm going to use some of this glue. Have you ever used this fabric tack? All right, so let's see, what have I got here? So for the donkey, I got to remember that that's still dry, not dry. I'm using the red and the gray. I'm using the green and that teal color for the Joseph. You don't have to do it that way. That's just, I don't know, that's just how I did it. You can do it however you want to do it. This is your ornament. All right, so just going to thread that through there. I knew I wanted red to pull out some more of the red in the heart. All right. What is going on with this red? Well, for one thing, it's longer than the gray. We can still work with that. Okay. Yeah, you like that? All right, let's see if I've got enough to tie this off. Okay, I don't. So that is okay. Let's do it this way. There's always more than one way. Everything's fixable. Whoops, going the wrong direction though. Someone told me that one time. Everything is figure outable. Even when it doesn't feel like it's figure outable. Okay, so I came in from the back, made my loop. And then I pull the back tails in like this. And then I still did it backwards. Doggone it. Okay. Don't do it that way. Do it this way. And some of you are probably cringing and thinking, I knew that she was doing it the wrong way. It's okay. It's okay. Show yourself some grace when you're creating. You don't want it to steal the joy of the creating time. And I think I did it again. No, I didn't. It's okay. Okay, here we go. That's what I wanted. I wanted you to be able to see both. So just play around with it to decide which way you want it. Because see, this way you can see the red and gray. This way you can see the red and gray. I like it. And then you can just do those edges. All right, so let's talk about this. Don't forget about Ornament Week next week, next Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and I will be teaching you how to paint the shepherd, the sheep, the wise men, and the camel. Okay, and it'll be great. If you don't have a kit, you can order a kit. We would love to send it to you. I just think there's something really special about these. Not because I created them, because it can be a really sweet time when you're creating to just reflect on the Christmas story, on the nativity story. Because you know what I've seen is common? By the time Christmas gets here, it is so, or can be so stressful that it's hard to even enjoy the season and what it's about. So this way, you can go ahead and start now. Don't wait until Christmas to start celebrating Christmas. Go ahead and start now. Just soaking in the story, the Nativity Love Story, and God's great and magnificent love for you. And think about who can you make these for that might really appreciate it, you know, do something special for them. By the time, my goal was that by November, because I was thinking we'll release one a month, you would have enough to create a nativity tree. I'm excited about that. My Creative Hearts group, we are going to have a master class, a nativity master class, and we're going to take all of these ornaments, all these designs that we created with these ornaments, and we're going to create a big canvas, a big nativity scene on a canvas in our Creative Hearts studio. All right, so I'm going to let that dry. I'm going to stand this upright. I wanted you to see the difference. This is using Fabri-Tac. The other side is just using glue, hot glue. There's no right or wrong way to do it. This glue just spit out all over the place, so I'm just going to put some of that on top. I like that Fabri-Tac glue. I really do. I'm not liking it right now because a lot of it spilled out and made a big mess, so I don't have much in there. It spilled out because it was upside down, so it's not the glue's fault. It's my fault. I was traveling with it. But anyway, there we have it, y'all. The sweet donkey. There's a place for you here. I love it. Okay, let me know if you have any questions. Thank you for being here. And I'm thankful for you. I'm thankful to the Lord for the gift that He has given us to create and how we can use it to not only make pretty things for our home and gifts, but we can use it for ourselves, you know, for stress relief and just to help our heart. So get some Christmas music going, and let me see what you end up making, okay? All right, so went over just a little bit. I have a hard time teaching anything in an hour. I just do. But anyway, I hope y'all enjoyed this. Thank you for being here, and I look forward to seeing you next Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday for Ornament Week. Talk to you soon. And that's 12 o'clock noon Central Time. And it will be over on my Facebook page. All right.